But let's shift focus and let's talk to Hindustan Aeronautics. We have with us R Madhavan, the CMD, joining in on the show right now. Mr. Madhavan, great to have you on the show. It's a major breakthrough finally for the company as you've backed the largest ever indigenous defense procurement deal. Tell us a little bit more about the deliverables of this deal, given that the cost negotiations between MoD and HAL have continued now for almost 3 years.
The contract, which is valued at around 36,000 crores for us, and a total outgo from the ministry for the value of around 48,000 crores. It consists of 73 fighter aircrafts and 10 trainer aircrafts, which has to be delivered starting from T0 plus 36, that is 3 years from the start of the signing of the contract, and will continue for a total period of 9 years. So that is how the deliverables are. And this will definitely give us a boost, not only to us, but also to the vendors associated with us in this project, which is more than around 560 vendors are involved, right from the design stage to the manufacture of components and parts, and also for the structures. So this is going to be a good order and a game changer as far as the defense contracts are concerned.
Sure. Walk us through the timeline for the execution of the deal. Is the company well equipped to meet the targeted timelines? Just wanted to understand that.
Yeah, we are equipped for that. In fact, we have increased our capacity from 8 to 16 aircrafts per year. And this will come into picture from 2024 onwards, because the first 3 years is a co-development and production phase. That is, we'll start the production activity exactly 3 years. The first deliverables will come exactly 3 years from the date of signing of contract, which we hope that it will happen this month. And beyond that, the deliverables, the first year, of course, is only a smaller number of aircrafts. But from there onwards, it would be 16 aircrafts per year. And we can even scale it up to 20 aircrafts depending on the future requirements from other customers. We are also looking at exports in this field. So we will be able to meet that requirements comfortably.
What about the new infrastructure that's in place and the operational manufacturing facilities? Given that 50% of parts will be manufactured indigenously, which is also likely to go up to about 60% by the end of the program. Share with us a little bit on how that is evolving.
The infrastructure which is already existing is good enough for 8 aircrafts. Beyond that, we are setting up another phase 2 infrastructure for increasing the numbers from 8 to 16. This is already come up in Bangalore. And on top of that, we have got 5 major Tier 1 suppliers who are also set up the infrastructure with them. Mainly it is L&T, then WEM Technologies, Alpha Tokol, DTL, and Tata Advanced Systems. So these are the ones which are the partners in this project. And we are geared up for that. As far as the engines are concerned, it is going to be a direct purchase from GE USA. And we are not setting up any facilities for that, because that has been taken out of the contract with us. So engines will continue to come from there. And probably the ROH, that is maintenance and repair facilities, will be set up by Air Force at a later date. So that is the way that it is going to be operated. Then there is a issue of indigenous content. So this, as of now, stands at around 51%. So that will keep on increasing till about 65% by the end of this contract. So here is where all the capital investment from the private sector is expected. And there are some of them who will be developing systems for this aircraft later on. But things like electronics, that is avionics and all, is what we expect that these vendors will be providing us in future.
Okay, given that you've also bagged many crucial orders of late, tell us how you intend to really leverage the technological lead that you currently have.
Currently, if you look at it, all our products now are of indigenous origin. That is, all of them are designed by either us or DRDO. So we are going forward with making in India products rather than getting it under TOT. So the same extends to all the vendors that you are associated with us. In fact, many of the designs now are started coming from the vendors. So the Indian Air Force and the Army, Navy, they will be more dependent on Indian vendors rather than getting these items from outside. That is one part of it. The second part is that the ecosystem, which has now matured, will also benefit from this kind of orders. Not only this in LCA, but we also have a couple of orders running for the helicopters. Now, the second helicopter, that is the LCH, as a fighter version of it, that is the combat version of it. That is also, we are expecting the order to come by March somewhere. So that will give another boost to the Indian vendor base. So these are the areas that we are look forward to in the future, as well as further orders on the LUH, that is a light helicopter, and also for the existing crew.
Right. Also, given the backdrop of the Ministry of Defence Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, can you share with us the vision that you have for Hindustan Aeronautics in the coming years and the kind of targeted order book that you're looking at?
We are looking at an order book in excess of 1.5 lakh crores in the future. As of now, we have reached a figure of somewhere around 90,000 crores. So as far as the order book is concerned, it is going up from 45,000 crores, which was there till now. And we have a roadmap of how to reach that figure. There are a lot of new platforms that we have developed now. And in future also, we are getting into larger helicopters. So there is a line of products this is available for the Indian Air Force and Armies. And along with that, there are new projects coming in from DRDO stable. That is, one of them is LCA Mark II, as well as the AMCA project. So we have a line which is existing, and we hope that the revenue growth will be quite strong, and we expect about 12% growth year on year from 2025 onwards.
Right. Mr. Madhavan, given that India is currently the second largest importer of defence equipment in the world, how much do you think scaling defence turnover will reduce the import bill for the government?
So it takes time for reducing this import bill. It is not that overnight we can do, but the Atmanirbhar Bharat has been a boost for Indian vendors to come in, not only in the aeronautical sector, but it's also in other ground systems as well as in maritime. So there is a lot of activities going on, not only with DPSUs, but also with private vendors. It will pick up, but it takes some time because of the time it takes for an order to be placed and for the deliveries to happen. More than that, we are also looking at exporting these equipments that now we are now proven with our armed forces. So there is a good market outside. There are a lot of interest generated on the products that we are now trying to put up in the international market. And we should be able to even achieve the export targets that we are set on ourselves.
What do you think will be paramount for the government to look at in terms of measures to further boost the defence sector? And, would you hope for simplification of administration? Would you look for increasing the local aerospace and defence, A&D, faster decision making? What would you feel is a priority?
Order placement definitely takes a lot of time, but there is the new DAP has come in, which is makes it much faster. We have to see how it works in the future. So it has to be faster because there is a lot of obsolescence and technology changes by the time these orders are placed. So we have to, if you have to keep in line with the new technologies that are coming in the defense sector, both the delivery as well as the order placement has to be done quickly.
Okay, given India's defense budget as a share of GDP has also shrunk in the past years, and then we've had the pandemic as well, what kind of tech and modernization resources would you want to see now going forward?
The defense budget in real terms is shrinking, that is for sure, and it will continue to have the same. You can extend the same thing for the coming future years also. So what we expect is that though the defense budget is shrinking, the number of equipment and the platforms that is going into service can increase if the sourcing is done from India, because we are definitely cheaper than buying from the OEM. That is one part of it. Secondly, we also believe that depending only on the Indian defense budget is not the way forward for us as well as to our vendors. So what we feel is that we should look at exports. That is where the growth will come in from. So that is where we are also gunning for. And for the last couple of years, we have started placing our products in the international market, and we are sure that we will be getting some orders in the near future.
Mr. Madhavan, what do you foresee, though, as a major challenge to achieving this self-reliance goal that you've set out for yourself?
A couple of things that we need to look at it is, one, the continuity of orders should be visible to any private player. Otherwise, it becomes very difficult to invest in the capital, especially because this is a very capital-intensive sector. To invest in the capital required for setting up a facility for the Indian Defence Forces. That is one part of it. Second, we do have a shortage of trained manpower which can take up these new technologies, not only with us, but also with any private vendors that is coming up in this field. So that is another area that we have to look very seriously. Otherwise, maybe within a year, a couple of years, we'll find there is not enough trained manpower for maintaining these platforms that we are now delivering.
Could you highlight if budgetary issues, production, time delays also feature largely on the list of hurdles?
The budgetary issues started somewhere around 2017 onwards. We did have a balance of payments from the government, but that has now largely been rectified. In fact, we have collected quite a good amount from the Defense Ministry this year. So that is something which is, I think within a year or two, it will become okay for us to assume that we will be getting paid for all the service products and services that we are delivering. So budgetary issues is there to the extent that the budgets are shrinking. So we'll have to look at new markets, not only with the Indian Defence Forces, as well as dependence on the OEM. If it is reduced, there will be delivery issues also should be to a large extent ironed out. There was delays because of delays from getting the material from the OEM, delays on our side also. But that is now more or less put in place, and we are now delivering ahead of schedule in many of those new projects that we have taken up. So that should not be an issue, especially with 83 LCA. We are now geared up we have kept a very tight margins on the cost as well as on the timelines. So we are working for it, and we should be able to improve on those.
Sure. I'm not quite sure, Mr. Madhavan, if you can really talk about targets, etc., and get into financial details. But if you had to get into revenue projections, not for the near term, not for the next quarter, but say in the next 2 to 5 years, do you think Hindustan Aeronautics can compete with other larger global players as such?
Yeah. As far as the global players are concerned, we are around 35th defense suppliers in the world. So we will be improving that in the future, and because our growth rates are around 2 to 2.5 times higher than the average growth rate that we are seeing across the world. We expect that as of now, we have increased our growth rate is around 7.5% per year. And we expect that it will increase to about 12% and beyond after 2025. So we'll be ahead of the curve as far as the revenue growth is concerned. So we do feel that we'll be improving our position as a global defense equipment supplier.
Okay. That's fantastic. We've also seen a lot more of MSMEs that are involved, whether it be in design and manufacturing, working with HAL in terms of, we discussed, being more indigenous and how things are evolving on that front. Share with us the kind of impact you're also seeing in terms of, an industry perspective, the involvement or contribution from various MSMEs and how that's helping to uplift the overall sector as well.
See, we have been developing in the industry, that is the MSMEs, especially from the last 15 years. We have got more than 7,000 plus vendors with us, out of which about 1,950 are in the MSME sector. And in this particular order that we are talking about now, that is LCA, there are more than 560 vendors involved, out of which even design is being done by the partners with us. There are 140 such companies who are designing systems and equipments for the LCA. On top of that, we have got 5 main Tier 1 suppliers and more than 400 or 450 Tier 2 and Tier 3 suppliers. So the MSME sector, which was earlier in the nascent phases, has now matured, and they're capable of delivering equipments and parts and equipments in the finished stage to us. So this is where the advantage is there, and we should continue to make them into a design houses. That is where we expect them to provide us systems which I can directly buy and put it on the aircraft. That is where we also think that HAL should be only the final integrator. Of course, being a main designer, and all other systems and other nitty-gritty items should come from the vendors. So, in fact, in LCA, there is nothing like machining in-house here. Everything is outsourced, and all the parts come into the final assembly, and structures are also coming into the final assembly from the vendors. So, the ecosystem is maturing, but there is a long way to go for them to come to the levels of foreign OEMs and advanced countries.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.